big CET night. A couple things I want to say. This is unlike anything we've ever done before. For those of you who don't know, last winter we were 2 days away from opening night of the Tempest when everything shut down to COVID. I said at the time we would find a way to do the Tempest, and this is it. This is the result of that. We decided this fall would be the time, and we decided that Zoom was the medium. I know it doesn't sound like a great medium for watching Shakespeare, but we hope to prove you wrong with that tonight. The great thing about Zoom for us is it allowed us to actually be together. School is not in person, and Zoom made sure that it was a true theatrical experience where actors are responding to each other in real time, and the tech crew met in Zoom and were able to discuss design ideas and work out problems in real time together. So it really allowed us to be together. There are so many people I could thank from the winter production, so many people I could thank from this production. I've decided, since we're releasing this in 5 episodes, not everybody knows Shakespeare's plays are written in 5 acts. When you go to see them in person, they usually divide it in 2. We decided, since we're not going to be in person, let's release it in 5 episodes, like a mini-series, and that gives us an opportunity to spread out the thanks to everybody and also spread out the love. It's going to be a long winter. We're going to spend a lot of time indoors, and now we have something to look forward to. We hope your families are looking forward to it as well. Since I'm not going to have time to thank everybody who participated, I decided I'll divide up my thanks over the 5 episodes. Tonight, I would like to thank Mitchell Dybczynski, last year's tech director. I'm tech directing and directing this year's production, but the work of Mitchell and his crew is absolutely something we are building on. And I would say, just in general, the work from last year's production is something we are building on in this year's production. And that goes for all the actors who have moved on to college, and anybody else who's involved in the show who isn't this year. We are building on your work. We hope you see your work reflected in what you see tonight. I'd like to thank Margie Morris and Leslie Rutkowski, my 2 producers. Ed Rutkowski and TJ Watson of the sound crew have been working way more than I could ever ask a crew this show, probably more than any sound crew, because they need to do so much to get these shows ready. And the last 2 people I wanted to thank this show are Loie Jones-Perpich and Sam Major, who were my assistant directors last year, and I've been building on their work a lot. So many other people I could thank. Love and love, love, love to all of the seniors who graduated, who are moving on, who are a part of this show in the winter. You are a part of this show. And we're going to show you a sort of behind the scenes video before we get started. But what do you guys want to say? 1, 2, 3. Enjoy the show. See you guys.
Where is the master, bosun?
2 more hour labor. Keep to your cabin. You do assist the storm.
If someone asked me to watch a Zoom performance of The Tempest, I would run away screaming, it's a terrible idea. But that was the challenge and that was the goal. Can we create something entertaining, visually interesting? And what about Zoom as a medium actually creates opportunities and advantages? What can we create that we wouldn't be able to do in any other medium?
Last March, we were 2 days away from opening night for our show and everything got shut down.
We had everything ready. The sets were beautiful, the costumes fit, we were ready to go.
It felt really weird because we had put all this work into making the show happen, and then we just were all sent home.
This fall, we decided to come back. We're gonna build on what we made, and we have 50 amazing cast and crew members. We make costumes, we decorate trees and take photos of them. We've organized contactless drop-offs to make sure that everyone gets what they need completely COVID safely. And so the lighting crew has been doing consults with actors to make sure that their lighting is the best that it can be, as well as coming to every single shoot to make sure that lighting is on point so that our video editing crew can just get in and add those effects.
I'm the crew head for video editing, and the video editing crew never existed before this Tempest.
Use the blade and cut just these 2 layers.
But we are really trying to edit in like all the set pieces and stuff from the last production.
Tell your piteous heart, there's no harm done.
Judith DeWaskin is a legendary teacher. She was playing the role of Prospera, and then she retired this summer. But I called her and she said, I will still do the play.
The truth is, I never stopped reading the lines. I never gave the part up. So I was thrilled that we were going to do this, even though I had no idea how you were going to put it together.
Last year, we created such a bond with Judith, and that the show just wouldn't be the same without her this year. And I think that's another reinforcement of, what a community we are.
It just does feel like a normal routine that we're going to rehearsal, then we chat with some of the people before it starts, and then when we're working, we can like have little conversations.
And I think those like little conversations we get to have when we're, goofing off.
Is that a cat?
Yeah, that's.
It looks unbelievable. It looks totally like that is your tail.
I think it was important for us as a group that we were doing theater with each other, and not just sort of filming separately.
I love rehearsals, and putting it together as a mini-series means that people can watch it in little chunks and just kind of be involved.
The idea of releasing it act by act to kind of give the audience a progress report of what we're doing in our theater group is really cool, and is something we can only do in the online format.
Bosun!
Dear master, what cheer?
Good! Speak to the mariners! Fall to Yerli! Or run ourselves aground! Be stir! Be stir!
Hey, my hearts! Cheerly, cheerly, my hearts! Yare, yare, take in the topsail! Tend to the master's whistle! Blow till thou burst thy wind if room enough! I pray now, keep below.
Where is the master, bosun?
You mar our labor. Keep to your cabin. You do assist the storm.
Be good. Be patient.
When the sea is. Hence, what cares these roars for the name of Queen? To cabin. Silence. Trouble us not.
Good. Yet remember whom thou hast aboard.
None that I more love than myself. You are a counselor. If you can command these elements to silence and work the peace of the present, we will not hand a rope more. Use your authority. If you cannot, give thanks you have lived so long and make yourself ready in your cabin for the mischance of the hour, if it so hap. Cheerly, good hearts, out of our way, I say.
I have great comfort from this man. Methinks he hath no drowning mark upon him.
Down with the topmast! Yeah! Lower, lower! Further try with main course! Lay from this howling! They are louder than the weather or our office! Yet again, what do you hear? Shall we give o'er and drown? Have you a mind to sink?
Oh, pop, not approach you, falling, blasphemous and charitable dog!
Weren't you then?
Hang, cur! Hang, you insolent noisemaker! We are less afraid to be drowned than thou art!
Lay her hold, a hold! Set her 2 courses off to sea again! Lay her off! What must our mouths be closed?
The Queen and Prince at prayers. Let's assist them, for our case is as theirs.
I'm out of patience! They're merely cheated of our lives by drunkards! Let's all sink with the Queen! Let's take leave of her!
Oh, would I give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an acre of barren land, long heath, brown furs, anything! The wills above be done, but I would fain die a dry death.
glorify your art, my dearest mother. You have put the wild waters in this roar. Allay them! Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. A brave vessel who had no doubt some noble creatures in her dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished.
Be collected. No more amazement. Tell your piteous heart, there's no harm done.
Oh, woe the day!
No harm. I have done nothing but in care of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art.
More to know did never meddle with my thoughts.
'Tis time I should inform thee farther. Lend thy hand and pluck my magic garment from me. Lie there, my art. Wipe thou thine eyes, have comfort, for thou must now no farther.
You have often begun to tell me what I am, but stopped and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay, not yet.
The hour's now come. Obey and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came into this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou was not out 3 years old.
Certainly, madam, I can. 'Tis far off and rather like a dream. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me?
Thou hadst, and more. 12 years since. 12 years since, Miranda, thy mother was the Duchess of Millen and a princess of power.
Are you not my mother?
Thy father was a piece of virtue, and he said thou wast my daughter, and thy mother was Duchess of Millen, and thou her only heir and princess.
Oh, the heavens! What foul play had we that we came from thence, or blessed wast we did?
Both, my girl. By foul play, as thou sayest, we were heaved thence, but blessedly helped hither.
Oh, my heart bleeds to think of the pain that I have turned you to, which is from my remembrance. Please you farther.
The hour's now come. Obey and be attentive. My brother and thy uncle, called Antonio. I pray thee mark me, that a brother should be so perfidious, he whom next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the manage of my state. For at that time the liberal arts were all my study. Best the government I cast upon my brother, thy false uncle. Dost thou attend me?
Madam, most heedfully.
Thy false uncle, having both the key of officer and office, set all hearts in the state to what tune pleased his ear. In my false brother awaked an evil nature. He did believe he was indeed the Duke. Dost thou hear?
Your tale, madam, would cure deafness.
Mark this condition and the event. Then tell me if this might be a brother.
I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother. Good wombs have borne bad sons.
Now the condition. The Queen of Naples, being an enemy to me, hearkened my brother's suit, to extirpate me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Millen on my brother, whereon a treacherous army assembled.
Wherefore did they not that hour destroy us?
Well demanded. So dear the love my people bore me, in few they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a boat, not rig nor tackle, sail nor mast, the very rats instinctively had quit it. There they hoist us, to cry to the sea that roared to us.
Alack, what trouble was I then to you?
Oh, a cherubim thou was that did preserve me, and raised in me an undergoing stomach, to bear up against what should ensue.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine, Some food we had and some fresh water that a noble Neapolitan Gonzalo, out of his charity, did give us, with rich garments, linens, stuffs, and necessaries. Knowing I loved my books, he furnished me from mine own library with volumes that I prize above my dukedom.
Would I might but ever see that man.
Now I arise. Sit still and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here on this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee more profit than other princesses can, who have more time for vainer hours and tutors not so careful.
Heavens, thank you for it, and now I pray you, for still 'tis beating in my mind your reason for raising this sea storm.
Know thus far forth, by accident most strange, bountiful fortune hath brought mine enemies to this shore, and by my prescience I find my fate depends upon a most auspicious star. Here, cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness, and give it way. I know thou canst not choose. Come away, servant, come. I am ready now. Approach my Ariel, come.
All hail, great mistress.
Brave madam, hail. We come to answer thy best pleasure.
Be it to fly,
To swim, dive into the fire,
To ride on the curled clouds.
To thy strong bidding task, Ariel and all our quality.
Hast thou spirit performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article. We boarded the Queen's ship, now on the beak, now in the waist, the deck, in every cabin we flamed amazement.
Sometime we divide
and burn in many places.
My brave spirit.
All but mariners plunged in the foaming brine and quit the vessel. Then all afire with me.
With us.
The Queen's son Ferdinand, hair up, staring.
Then like reeds, not hair.
First man that leapt, cried,
Hell is empty! And all the devils are here.
That's my spirit. But are they, Ariel, safe?
Not a hair perished. And as thou badest me in troops, I have dispersed them about the isle. The Queen's son have I landed by himself.
And the mariners, say how thou hast disposed the rest of the fleet.
Safely in harbor is the Queen's ship.
Deep nook where thou once castest up at midnight.
Fetch dew from the still vexed Bermudes.
There she's hid.
Mariners, all under hatches stowed.
We have left asleep.
And for the rest of the fleet, they are on a Mediterranean float bound sadly home for Naples, supposing they saw the Queen's ship wrecked and her great person perished.
Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed, but there's more work.
Is there more toil? Since thou didst give me pains, let me remember thee what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me.
How now, moody? What is it thou canst demand?
My liberty.
Our liberty.
Before the time be out? No more.
I pray thee, remember I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made thee no mistakings, served without grudge or grumblings. Thou didst promise to bate me a full year.
Hast thou forgot from what a torment I did free thee?
I do not, madam.
Thou liest, malignant thing. Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, who with age and envy was grown into a hoop? Hast thou forgot her?
No, madam.
Thou hast. Where was she born? Tell me.
Madam, in Argier.
Oh, was she so? I must once in a month recount what thou hast, which thou forgettest.
Aye, madam.
This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, was then her servant, and she did confine thee in a cloven pine, within which rift imprisoned thou didst painfully remain 12 years, within which space she died and left thee there. Then was this island, save for the son that she did litter here, a freckled whelp, hag-born, not honored with a human shape?
Yes, Caliban her son.
Dull thing, I say so, he that Caliban, whom now I keep in service. What torment I did find thee in! Thy groans did make wolves howl and penetrate the breasts of ever angry bears. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out.
I thank thee, mistress.
If thou more murmurest, I will rend an oak and peg thee in its knotty entrails, till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
Pardon, mistress. I will be correspondent to command and do my spiriting gently.
Do so. And after 2 days, I will discharge thee.
That's my noble master. What shall I do? Say what shall I do?
Go make thyself like a nymph of the sea. Be subject to no sight but thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Go hence. Awake, dear heart, awake. Thou hast slept well. Awake.
The strangeness of your story put heaviness in me.
Shake it off. Come on. We'll visit Caliban, my slave, who never yields his kind answer.
'Tis a villain, ma'am, I do not love to look on.
But as 'tis, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our wood, and serves in ways that profit us. What ho, slave, Caliban! Thou earth, thou speak.
There's wood enough within.
There's other business for thee. Come forth, I say. Thou poisonous slave, got by the devil himself, come forth.
As wicked do as e'er my mother brushed, with raven's feather from unwholesome fen, drop on you both. A southwest blow on ye and blister you all o'er.
For this be sure, tonight thou shalt have cramps. Thou shalt be pinched as thick as honeycomb, each pinch more stinging than bees that made 'em.
I must eat my dinner. This island's mine, by Sycorax, my mother, which thou takest from me. When at first thou camest, thou strokest me, and madest much of me, wouldst give me water with berries in it, and teach me how to name the bigger light, and how the less that burned by day and night. And then I loved thee, and showed thee all the qualities of the isle, fresh springs, brine pits, barren place, and fertile. Oh, cursed be I that did so. All the charms of Sycorax, toads, beetles, bats, light on you, for I am all the subjects that you have, which first was mine own king. And here you sty me in this hard rock, whilst you do keep from me the rest of the island.
Thou most lying slave! I lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
Oh, had it been done, thou didst prevent me. I had peopled else this isle with Caliban.
Abhorred slave! I pitied thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other, when thou did not, savage, know thine own meaning, but would gabble like a thing most brutish. I endowed thy purposes with words that made
You
them
taught
known.
me language, and my profit on it is I know how to curse. The red plague rid you for learning me your language.
Hagseed hence! Fetch us fuel and be quick. If thou neglectst or dost unwillingly what I command, I'll rack thee with old cramps, fill all thy bones with aches, make thee roar that beasts shall tremble at thy din.
No, prithee, I must obey. Her art is of such power it would control my damn's god, Cerberus, and make a vassal of him.
No slave, hence!
Come unto these yellow sands and take him. Curtsied when you haven't kissed, wild waves whist. Footed featly here and there, as we spice the bird and bear. Hark, hark, bird then, the watchdogs bark. Hark, hark, I hear the strain of strutting chanticleer, cry cock-a-diddle-dow.
Where should this music be? In the air or in the earth? This music crept upon me by the waters, laying both their fury and my passion with its sweet air. Thence I've followed it, but 'tis gone. No, it begins again.
Full fathom 5 thy mother lies, her bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were her eyes, nothing of her that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. Sea nymphs hourly ring her bell. Hark, now I hear them, ding dong bell, ding dong bell.